Everybody, welcome back to the Proverbs 31 Boss podcast. I'm super excited to be here with you today and to be sharing lots of things. Look, fixing an eyelash over here. Lots of things regarding how you have to delegate in your business. For some reason, something is going on with my eye over here. I'm good, y'all. I promise. Maybe because this light is a little bright and my eye just may be like, girl, you got to make sure that we can see. But anyhow, today, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and make sure that this podcast is live on Facebook, on Instagram, because today is episode 252. And the title of this episode is Delegate or Be Defeated. If you are joining me live, I'm going to go ahead over to the chat and welcome you. Please let me know where you are joining from. If you are watching from anywhere in the world, I want to know where you are joining from, and what you are hoping to get out of this episode. So just bear with me just for a second, guys. I'm not used to streaming this podcast everywhere, but it is a command from God because there are some things that I share here, I share in different places, and I have to start sharing them all in one place. The interesting thing about being a Proverbs 31 boss or being a Proverbs 31 woman in any way, most of the times we like to compartmentalize ourselves. We are a wife over here, we are a business owner over here, we're an auntie over here, but we don't bring our whole selves everywhere. So, here at the Proverbs 31 Boss Academy, that's one thing that I love to do. I love to just be myself in every place that I am, whether I'm on the prayer call or whether I am on YouTube, no matter where I am. Hey, T from Grand Rapids, no matter where I am, I try to make sure I bring my whole self to every single place. And so while I do love the Lord, I do love him, I also am a businesswoman. I love business. I started my first business when I was 7 years old. And I believe that every problem is actually a business. And so as I come on here and share some of the things that I share, I wanted to share some tips with you about delegation. And I'll be doing it on all of these platforms. So I got everything up. And we're ready to go forward. If this is your first time watching me, my name is Tiana Blyden. I am a wife of almost 13 years. I'm a mom of 4. 3 of my children are under 11 years old. So you can imagine that I'm busy. I'm a minister of the gospel. And I really believe that I am here to help people do 2 things: to package their gifts and to grow and expand and scale their companies without compromising their personal values, as well as compromising relationships with the people that they love the most. And so I know what it's like to have anxiety about expanding your business. I know what it's like to have anxiety about business growth, but to know that God is calling you to a higher level. And so you have to learn how to do things that you never learned how to do before. And that is growth and expansion. I wanted to point out to you guys today that they say you hear this all the time, that 95% of businesses fail in the first year, right? 95% of businesses, or 90 some odd numbers, fail within the first 5 years. There's also a whopping 68% that fail after the first 5 years. So after the first year, you got 95, and then the people that last for 5 years, there's over 68%. But then at the 10-year mark, I'm going somewhere with this, I promise you. At the 10-year mark, 48.5% of businesses are failing. And it's not because their brand messaging or marketing is not right, or they're struggling to have to know what products to serve their clients. That happens in the first year. After 5 years, the struggle is how to is cash flow. They run out of cash flow. They don't get a lot of funding. And now we're seeing a lot of business initiatives that are helping people not only manage the money that's coming into their business, but also to use money for marketing and sales and expansion. But when you get into the 10-year mark, those businesses, those 48.5% that fail, they don't fail because they don't have money or that they don't have a great product or their messaging is not clear. Those businesses fail because the CEO does not know how to delegate, because the CEO is all in the weeds of the business. So they leave the wheel of the business unattended, and the business is going somewhere that it was never intended to go because they're busy doing the business instead of being the CEO. And so today I want to talk to you about delegation, because lack of delegation, not knowing how to do it, could be the demise of your business. Please understand that expansion is not a suggestion from God. It is a command. He wants you to expand into the market. He wants you to build a big business if that is what he puts on your heart. He wants you to have employees and hire and to stretch and to grow. But here's the thing. Nobody really teaches anybody how to delegate. And over the last 2 podcast episodes, I've talked about how the Proverbs 31 woman, when you look at the scripture, before she even made it into the real estate field, before she even was dealing with merchants or doing anything at the gates, or her husband was leaving the house at all, she delegated to her maidservants, and that indicates that she had help. But I don't want to just come to you just biblically. Today, I want to share some practical tools for you to learn how to delegate in your business, no matter what size you are. Because if you don't learn these tools, if you survive to the 10-year mark, you won't survive long after that if you do not know how to delegate. And here's some reasons why people don't delegate. They don't trust the people that they work with. They feel like this is my baby. Nobody's going to treat it like I do. I need to understand and work in every role so that people don't rip me off, and so that my business can continue to grow. And those are all valid reasons. They really, really are. But they're not going to take you into the multi-millions in business. And so if you don't learn at this stage to build a team that you can trust and learn some tools to help build them into a team that you can trust, right? If you don't learn when you need to delegate a task, how to delegate a task, how to make sure that the task is still being performed, then you are going to be overwhelmed, which some of you business owners are, overwhelmed, burnt out, trading the silver handcuffs, the business, the company that you left to go start your business, for gold handcuffs. Now you're handcuffed to your business. All of those things are happening because you don't know how to delegate. And it is not my intent to make you feel bad, but I do want to let you know that if you don't learn how to do this, you are always going to be overwhelmed. You're always going to compromise your values and at the expense of being able to, as an expense for being able to get the work done at work or get the work done in your business. Some of you guys have help, but you don't even know how to use the help because you're so used to doing everything yourself. And so in order to go into this next season of expansion, you have to let go of what works and let other people do it, so you can allow God to show you what is ahead in the industry, in your business, what you need to create that is new, what you need to tap into, what products you need to refine. You can't do that if you're always doing the business and not being the CEO or business owner. So I want to let's just break down some things that are absolutely necessary for delegation. The very first thing is you have to see delegation as necessary. Now, I touched on this, but I just want to touch on it a little bit more before I give you another tip or another tool. The first thing is understand. I want you to look at it like this. Not delegating in your business, being a manager, a micromanager, hovering over people and not allowing them to take responsibility for certain roles. It is like driving a car and leaving the steering wheel while the car is in drive and going and getting in the back seat. Would you get in the car? Would you get in the car with somebody who's driving like that? They are not really driving the car. The car is moving, but they are in the back seat. They are in the passenger seat. They are in the trunk looking for something while the car is moving. Every time you leave every time you don't delegate something that can be delegated, as a CEO, while you're supposed to be looking ahead, looking out on the road, seeing what's happening in your industry, looking at what twists and turns are happening, hearing from God concerning marketing strategies, business strategies, the things you're supposed to be getting into. Every time you leave to go and handle lower level things that can be delegated, what happens is, let me tell you specifically what happens. Your car is driving and you don't know where it's going. You can't see what bumps in the road are coming up because you are in the weeds of your business. It is absolutely necessary. If you plan to build a business that leaves a legacy for your family. Now, listen, if this business is something that's supposed to bless at least 3 generations, you have to stay in the driver's seat. That means you have to hire help. You have to get some help. Now, one of the things that I teach my clients is how to build a team on a budget, because I understand that you do have to build a team, but you may not you may not even be paying yourself a salary yet. So you may not be able to afford to, at this moment, to pay everybody a salary, but you cannot afford not to at least have an assistant. And not just, some people get an assistant, which will lead me into the second thing. The second thing that you have to do in terms of delegation is you have to make sure that you hire or delegate to people that have a skill, a talent, or something that they bring to the team that, number one, frees you up to drive, right? But also increases the bottom line of the business. The worst thing that you can do is hire an assistant and not tell them what to do. The worst thing that you can do is hire an assistant so that everything can look good, but it is not increasing your bottom line. It is not increasing your productivity. So there are some specific systems that you need to have in place as you bring an assistant on. There are specific tasks that will directly, excuse me, y'all, I got to drink some water, that will directly affect what your bottom line looks like when you have your assistant do them. It's not just about cleaning out your emails. It's not just about certain things. It is following up. It is making sure that you're on time for things, making sure that your call to actions are in order, making sure that things that actually control the money actually make sense. Okay. So that's the second thing. As you delegate, make sure that you delegate to certain positions or delegate to certain people that will change, that will free you up, give you more time, which will give you the ability to make more money, not time to just play around, but to make more money. And you also want to make sure that you are allowing them to do things that is going to change your bottom line. So you get more time, you make more money by bringing these people in. And one of the things that I teach in my delegation system, as I share it with CEOs, is that I give them specific tasks for an assistant, specific tasks that are going to and how they can measure whether or not the assistant is effective in their business by looking at the money, but also looking at the time they have. And you're not just wanting more time, you want to get more time so you can use it to do other things. And I show them specifically what to do with the time that they have left. This is really, really important. And so the last thing I want to share with you today, I said it's necessary that delegation have to be tied to a bottom line, but this is the last thing. This will help you delegate in business and at home. Delegation should follow a 70% delegation rule. What does that mean? There's a 70% delegation rule. That means that, and this is in life and in business, if the person or the entity can fulfill the job at least 70% competency, then you let them do it. I'm going to say that again. If the person or the entity, the business, can perform the same task at least 70% competency, then you let them do it. You let them take responsibility. You hold them accountable, but you let them take responsibility for the task. Let me give you an example. Prior to the pandemic, I used Instacart. Okay. Prior to the pandemic, everybody started using it after that, but I used Instacart. The reason why is because I used to spend 4 to 5 hours going to different supermarkets, going to BJ's and Costco's and Walmart and the regular supermarket, picking up stuff. It would take me 4 hours, a 4-hour trip every single weekend. I would come back with a headache. So I was stressed, and my family had food for the week, but I was stressed out, and I spent my entire Saturday at the supermarket with very young kids sometimes. Okay. And so what I did was I looked up Instacart. Instacart, come on here, somebody. Instacart was charging about $20 to $25 per trip. Every time I ordered Instacart from the different stores, I would have to pay about $25 for them to pick up the items. Now, most people would say, I don't want to pay an extra $25 for them to pick up the stuff, right? But then I started thinking about it differently. When I go to the supermarket, when I'm with my children or when I'm by myself, if I'm hungry before I go, I pick up extra things at the supermarket. I'm sure that I spend more than an extra $25 because, excuse me, I don't know what's going on, but y'all can get this information. I'm sure that I spend more than an extra $25. So I knew that if Instacart went shopping for me and I wasn't there shopping by myself, I was going to save more than $25 anyway. So that was the first thing. The second thing is that I would have a migraine when I came back. So there was the rest of my day. Whatever else I had planned, I had to cancel it because I had a migraine from going to the market and being out all day, right? So it saved me time. It saved my health, and it also was saving me money because I knew I was spending more than an extra $25. The third thing is now Instacart was going well for a while, but then when everybody started using it, anybody was actually picking up the stuff. So what started happening was everything except my fruits and vegetables would be good. Sometimes they would pick up things that were rotten. Sometimes they would bring me fruits and vegetables that were not good. And so what I started doing was I started holding them accountable, but that wasn't working. Did I stop doing Instacart and go back to doing 4 to 5 hours at the market? Absolutely not. Two things actually happen now. Either my husband goes to the market where he orders the groceries and goes and picks the stuff up and brings it home because it's less stressful for him. And that makes the stress less for me. So I delegated that to him. Or if in any event that he cannot go to the market, right, I will still order Instacart and go and pre-order my fruits and vegetables from a local grocery store and go and examine it as I go and pick it up. That's still saving me time. Because I delegated that task, I gave myself more time to do other things. Case in point, I was on the phone with an entrepreneur the other day. Somebody they have 2 assistants. They are in business and their assistant doesn't do much for them. So I asked them a series of questions during my CEO blueprint session. And I said, does your assistant do this, that, and this? They said, no. I said, why is your assistant not doing those things? Because I never told them to. I never thought about this. I have an assistant so I can delegate things, but I don't feel that she's competent enough to deal with these things. I said, so what do you think that she is competent enough to do right now? Well, she can handle X, Y, and Z. Well, do you have her doing those things? No, I don't have her doing those things. So I started to add up how much money this person was paying their assistant every month. And how many tasks they were not doing, they were still doing it. And what those tasks that she could be doing was costing them. And when they started to look at the numbers in the session, they said, you know what? I'm getting ready to start delegating. And I'm going to train her, share what it is. I gave her a system for delegating and how to get this person to take responsibility for those things. But then after that, if she's not the right assistant for you, then you have to move on. But what you cannot do is, as a CEO, still be in the weeds of your business. Okay. So today I wanted to share, again, going back to what I shared in the beginning, that 48, almost 49% of businesses fail after 10 years in business. That means that they have a good product, a good service, the cash flow may be good, but they can't leave a legacy for their families because they will not delegate. Not being able to delegate is detrimental to your business. Not being able to delegate is detrimental to a woman in your household. If you still have to be the one that cleans up all the bathrooms because you wanted to look a certain way, you are robbing yourself of peace. You are robbing yourself of a lot of things. And so you have to figure out what's important and how much, count the cost both ways. For us, it takes me 6 hours to clean up my house. For our housekeeper, Carmen, it takes her 3 hours. How much money can I make in my business in an hour? And I look at what we pay Carmen is not even what I make in an hour. What we pay her for those 3 hours is less than what I would make in an hour. So why not save those hours and let her clean? That is the mindset of a CEO. So if you are struggling, even if you say, look, I'm a solopreneur, I don't even really have I don't even have an assistant, but I know I need one. I don't even know where to start. I want to invite you to book a CEO blueprint session with me. If you're a person who has an assistant and you know that your assistant could be doing more, or if you're ready to build out your team and you want to know how to delegate tasks so that you can focus more on being rather than doing in your business. You may have already made 250,000, 500,000, but you're so busy in the weeds that you will never get to that million, or you're going to slowly get there because you're spending too much time doing what is already working that you can delegate. So you can, and you're not focusing on the expansion items. I want to talk to you. Book a CEO blueprint session. And I know what it's like. It's scary. But once I walk you through these steps, all you have to do is schedule a session with me. We'll identify the areas that you need to delegate, and then we'll select a system that works best for you. That is it. That's all you have to do. Schedule a session, learn about what systems work for you, what areas you need to adopt a delegation system, and then you can select a system that works best for you. That is it. But if you know that God is calling you to expand in this season, if you know that he's calling you to grow, if you know that he's calling you to go to another level, you know you have things that you have to tap into, industries, different products, new opportunities that you have to tap into, and you haven't been able to tap into it because you're busy doing in your business instead of being. I want to talk to you. Book a CEO blueprint session with me, and I want to walk you through the process of learning how to truly delegate so you can leave a legacy for your family. Thank you guys so much for joining me on this podcast, and I will see you back next week on the Proverbs 31 Boss podcast. You guys be blessed.